A bit of a gear change here on Britain's Newsroom because we've got some breaking news that another small boat migrant has unfortunately died in the English Channel overnight. That's as hundreds more make the crossing today, of course, the balmy weather making it a good opportunity for that journey.
Well, GB News believes that the victim was a Sudanese woman drowned after the massively overcrowded boat that she was in began sinking in French waters just before 1 o'clock this morning. OK. Thoughts with those people, unfortunately, who succumbed to the Channel. We're joined now by author Amy Nickell-Turner and political commentator Emma Webb in the studio. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for joining us. Right, well, I think we should start, because of this tragic news with regards to a migrant who's died. I'm going to start with this one. Border Force took migrants rescued from the Channel back to France the first time on Thursday. As the Prime Minister said, he wants an asylum seeker returns deal with Europe. Is this not a better way of sending people back so that they don't actually make the crossing in the first place?
Yeah, I think it points to the fact that we need to cooperate more with the French, more so than just giving them £54 million and hoping that they put more border force, more surveillance, that type of thing. But the French have been offering time and time again that we can process claims in France, and that would stop people making this journey. At present, we are saying no to that.
Well, hold on, didn't Rishi Sunak give about 500 million to the French, and part of that deal was to have a processing centre that would be in France? I mean, that subsequent government's been talking about that.
Our government has time and time again said that we will not process claims in France, and we will continue to take on, I think it's about 3 nationalities. So we don't have the safe and legal routes. So
there was money.
Our government has said that we will not process claims in France, particularly from places like Sudan. That's where the lady who lost her life...
Keir Starmer doesn't seem to have plans to process them in France, so...
I know. I'm completely critical of all government approaches, because until they open up safe and legal routes for people from the likes of Sudan, this will continue happening.
But look, safe and legal routes, all very well. You just have loads more and more people coming, but I don't think it'll stop people crossing the Channel in that way. I don't believe that
I agree.
People will use the safe and legal routes as we've set up. That's
but there
fine.
aren't safe and legal routes.
But there are other ways of getting here.
People will still do it, particularly those who are up to no good. So I think actually there's a bit of spin on this story, because it looks like, we've got a Labour government, this is a good, optimistic, cause for optimism. They've sent the boat back to France. Yes, I think it would be a very good thing for every boat that crosses to just be sent back to France, or if we have documentation for them, but of course they throw that away to send them back to their country of origin. However, the reason why they could do this was because the boat was in French waters. What we need to be able to do is to send them back when they are in British waters. So this isn't...
That makes no sense.
This doesn't mean...
Why does it make no sense?
Because what are you going to then... They're detaining hundreds of people in inhumane conditions indefinitely. The Australians...
No, they didn't.
Yes, there are plenty of people in detention off of Australia. If you push it back to
Amy,
France...
that's not true. Hang on a minute, that's not true. Australia put them in very sturdy lifeboat-style vessels, sent them to offshore processing centres, Papua New Guinea, etc. What do you mean,
Where they still are. Well, people are still in those detention centres. Anyway, if you push it back to France, then you push it back to Italy, then you push it back to Libya. When does it stop?
Well,
why not? At the moment, because we take 1% of the world's refugees. We are 20th in Europe at taking asylum seekers. Why don't we play our part and accept a few more people that we can and we're able to do?
But still, that doesn't stop the people crossing the Channel. That's all very well, that's all very nice. We could take more people legally.
Actually, it would stop people crossing the Channel.
I think you're very wrong. The kind of people who are crossing the Channel, a lot of them are, maybe they've done something bad, they do not want, they may
Or maybe they're from Sudan, like the women that just lost their life.
They're using criminal means to get here. They're criminal gangs. I mean, let's be honest, it's a people trafficking thing that people are doing, and you are condoning it.
No, I'm not. I'm saying we should process people in France so they don't have to take the journey. I'm saying open, safe and legal routes so they don't have to take the journey. We're offering asylum to 3 nations at the moment. That's why people are getting on the boats.
It might make a tiny dent in people crossing, but it's not going to stop the problem. And I think, we've seen with the situation that's been unfolding in our cities. I mean, there were effectively two riots last night. We can't even secure our cities and we can't secure our borders. It's an unacceptable situation. But the point, I think, about this story is that it's not a reason for optimism, because it's a one-off that they've managed, that they've sent this back to France because it was in French waters.
The boat was so poor that they couldn't push it all the way to the UK.
They wouldn't,
it wasn't really...
If it's in French waters, it goes to France. If it's in British waters, it comes to Britain. So we need to be able to send boats back that or even all the way up
Just
to
from where
reaching
they
our
come
shores.
from.
We find them on a Dover beach, we send them back to France. That's what we need to be doing.
I don't know why.
Because otherwise we don't have secure borders.
Responsibility. Why is France more responsible than us? Because we have a global responsibility, surely.
Oh,
As one of the richest countries in the world,
Amy.
we're one of the.
We have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to our own people.
There's poverty across the United Kingdom. We are full. There's homeless English, British veterans on the street.
Amy said that's got nothing to
What's
do with
that
it.
got
What's that
to
got to do
do
with anything?
We, at the
Supply and
moment, we
demand,
don't
Amy.
really take the number of migrants that, one, is presented by the mainstream media. I think last year we
Japan
took...
doesn't take any.
But
Japan takes no migrants.
So let's
And they
take
are one
the
of the top
example
economies
of-
as well.
So if we take the example of the woman from Sudan who lost her life, do you think she did not deserve to claim asylum here in the UK?
We don't know.
I don't know.
We haven't.
I don't know. We don't know.
You don't know?
No, we don't know. But the bottom line is this: by this soft touch, you're actually indirectly you are perpetuating it. That's what's happening with this sort of mindset. The mindset that if you arrive somewhere that you shouldn't be, you'll be sent back.
But why shouldn't
It's also
you
not
be?
about economics, it's about
Why
security.
I don't want them to get on the
shouldn't
boat.
you be?
Yeah, but they shouldn't get on the boat. We don't want them on the boat. It's
You
dangerous.
have, according to international law, you have the right to claim asylum in a safe country.
But you don't have the right to cross the channel.
So it's
in that
not.
way.
But you also
You don't have the right to cross the channel.
Yes, you
That's
do.
illegal. No, that is
But
illegal.
you also have
No, it is illegal.
you also have
It
a
is
moral
illegal.
obligation to protect your citizens. It's not about economics, it's about security. So even despite the very legitimate argues about supply and demand and whether or not we can accommodate these people, which clearly we can't with NHS public services, all of this other stuff, the fact that we're paying so much of taxpayer money in order to house these people when we have our own people who are homeless on the streets, we have a moral obligation, and the government has a moral obligation to the citizens of this country. We should be able to secure our borders. We are a joke as a country if we cannot secure our borders.
If you took the migrants that came last year and are waiting to have their claims processed, which is a massive problem, they shouldn't be waiting for that long. The population would go up by about 0.04%. But that is not crisis. That is not a national security threat. It's a joke to suggest as much.
You say that's not a crisis. Depends if you're on a housing waiting list. It depends if you are trying to get a GP appointment. It depends where you are and what you do. Hold on. Now, let me finish. Now, the Labour government has said that they're going to do 1.5 million new homes and it will be given to people on basis of need. Well, I would put to you that somebody who's a migrant who's come to this country will probably go ahead of the queue.
You're talking about we're talking about illegal migration. That makes up 5%.
But it doesn't matter what percentages because you don't know who's coming in.
You don't know
either. But
it takes a small percentage of people to do a bad thing.
But you're talking about housing lists. You're talking about the NHS. You're talking about.
It'll impact it all.
But that's what I was saying. It's not. But that's what I was saying.
Are tiny.
Yes, those arguments are legitimate, but it's not about that. It's about security, and it takes one person.
Great conversation, fascinating.